Welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Classroom. I am Dia.
And I'm Bhavna.
Today, we are in conversation with RJ Vivek Sanil discussing should children be independent at an early age. Vivek is a radio presenter on Talk 100.3 and he has interviewed famous personalities like Kapil Dev, Shilpa Rao, Rishabh Shetty, the famous legendary chess player Vishwanathan Anand, Sadhguru, and the list just goes on. Vivek, your voice has been a constant companion for most of us, brightening our mornings and cheering us on our daily commute. Welcome, Vivek. It's a true pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Bhavna. Thank you so much, Dia. I'm your first guest, and beyond the classroom, this looks amazing. This feels amazing. So, thank you so much for having me on the show.
So, Vivek, which part of India do you belong to?
So, I belong to Udupi, Mangalore, but I was born and brought up in Mumbai. And
And how was it growing up there, your childhood?
so, we were living in Malad, in a chawl. And then at the age of 6, my mom said, for the upbringing of the kids, we should move to a building. I don't know why she said it. But then we moved to a building. It was a small house, 254 to 300 square feet ka ghar. And we were two of us, me and my sister, we were living there with our parents. And there used to be this mezzanine floor where I used to go up and, sleep over there. It's called a mala within the house. That was my personal space. But yeah, growing up was a lot of fun. We had a kind of a complex, small complex where we used to meet all the time with friends. Most of the time we would play cricket.
So you had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So tell me some mischief. कुछ तो किया होगा.
So in school days, most of the time I used to be an outstanding student. I used to always stand outside the class because by the time I was 14, 15, I was so naughty that the teachers would not let me sit in the class. They would call my name.
What naughtiness would you do?
Vivek Sanil, please go out of the class. So what I would do is throw chalks on my friends, and I would make funny sounds, and I would do a lot of, I would crack a lot of jokes, and my friends would giggle at that time, and when the teacher is teaching. So I used to do that a lot. But then I did, क्या बोलते हैं, सुधरोफाई. So yeah, that's the way it went.
So you really loved doing all kind of mischief and naughtiness. Or
Yeah.
what about your parents? What was their reaction?
So
कभी स्कूल से complain गई घर पे?
School से तो नहीं, but building में when we would play a lot, we would do a lot of मस्ती. जैसे कि cricket खेलते समय we would, hit the windows or the windows would break and people would start screaming and we would run away. We would just run away from there, and then we would come back in the evening. तब mom or dad बराबर पिटाई. But dad was always supportive. It's okay, काश तोड़ दिया, ठीक है, I'll pay for it. Not arrogant, but yeah.
That was nice, actually. So, as parents, when our kids are going abroad for university education, and we as parents always feel that, okay, maybe they are not ready for going abroad, because they are not independent enough or they cannot handle their life on their own. What if something happens? What if they're sick? So, what do you think is the right age for the parents to, encourage a child to do things independently, be a little more self-reliant?
I think it's a very tricky thing, especially for our Desi parents, because if we have one child, they are the world to us, right? हमारे लाडले होते हैं वो. So to let them go is extremely tough. But then I'll tell you one instance, when you talk about being independent, there's so much of accomplishment that the child feels that he's able to do certain things when he wants to and that he's able to do. For example, my kid the other day was, using the lift all by himself. I know it's a very small thing, but then he felt so happy, came home and he said, Papa, I use the lift by myself. And I was like, great, next time don't do it.
As parents, when our kids are about to venture into the university education, their next phase of life, We feel they are, not independent enough to handle their own lives when they're sick, when they are, doing everything by themselves. So let's kick off with the, classic question. When do you think, or why do you think the kids should be taught independence? What age and why?
So, as Desi parents, this often happens with us that if we have one child, we protect the child's safety and so many other things we're worried about. But I feel it's a very smooth transition that happens naturally also, and also the circumstances and the conditions that you as a parent create. For example, during COVID times, it used to happen that we didn't have many activities to do. So my son would stand on the kitchen sink and wash vessels. And I would feel so happy to keep himself busy, creative, whatever. The conditions that you create as a parent, that is the most and I think, the very important part where children can become independent. But I think that's a transition which every parent can, naturally let it happen or be mindful about it and make sure it happens. But with me, I'm a very firm believer of letting things happen naturally, but also at the same time create those conditions.
So, when your child was cleaning utensils, I'm sure you had that pride feeling.
I put it on social media.
Oh,
Oh,
कि
wow.
आज बर्तन ये धोएंगे.
how
That's
sweet.
nice.
Yeah. So there are these small things, and of course there is a lot of accomplishment that comes within for a child if he's able to do things on his own.
That confidence kind of a thing, yes.
Absolutely. For example, using the lift for the first time, when my son used it and he said, Papa, I came by the lift all by myself. I was like, wow, that's amazing. But don't do it next time.
Yeah, because as a parent, we always fear for their safety. They should not get stuck somewhere.
Correct.
So I'm sure. But when you were a child, do you remember any instance where you did things independently and your parents were very proud of you?
And that's what I know. The reason that I'm able to do this naturally or give that condition because I have come through that natural condition. For example, we didn't have a full-time housemaid. We had a maid back home when I was growing up. Maid would come for an hour and then leave. Rest of the day, mom used to do the entire work, right? So you as a child are responsible to help your mom. You're cutting vegetables, you're washing vessels, you are going to the market. We didn't have 15-minute deliveries, right, at that time. Every 15 minutes, I used to go down and get something. Mom would forget.
But I think
Aaj,
that small act of you going down, buying something yourself, checking out how much money you got, change, did you get it from the shopkeeper? These small elements are so important, jo maybe our kids are not doing at the moment.
Right.
But really, that must be helpful for you being an independent.
correct. And that is how it happened naturally, right? Nobody studied this and made us do it, right? So that natural condition is what if you could create now, not the same, maybe a little different, maybe in a more entertaining way. I think we don't really need to worry about kids being independent, but the best part is to make everything fun. For example, cooking. Not all kids can, right? And especially when they go to universities. Bhavna, you would agree with me?
Oh, yes, I do. And most of the kids now that I know, my own son is in university and his friends and everyone. So everyone is like, okay, mommy, even if I don't cook at home, no, I have YouTube. I'll experiment.
Nice.
So, and eventually now I see he's been out since 2, 3 years now and his friends and all. So they are like, I make 7 fillings and I keep it. I don't have time in my day. I have to rush to university. So bas tortilla nikala, filling done and sorted. And they are enjoying. They don't want to come back. They don't want to come back in this life of luxury again. It's like that. And I'm just,
Yeah. So the thing is that, to making anything more exciting and fun. So the other day, my son made a sandwich for me, took 2 slices of bread, put tomato, put chocolate sauce, and it was something. And he made me taste. And somehow I had the courage to taste, and I said, "This is the best sandwich I've ever had." Of course, as a parent, I would say. And then, thank God he forgot the recipe now. That I don't have
tomato
to.
with chocolate.
Tomato, chocolate sauce, and whatever you could find in the fridge, cheese. So the idea that you can do things on by yourself, And so I think naturally, if you can transform that independence conditioning, it'll be fantastic.
So, Vivek, now you are an RJ, a media celebrity, and a parent at home. So, how do you balance everything? Because at home, your dad, you do some things at home, as a household member, and then you're a media celebrity outside. So, how are you able to balance everything?
So now that you've brought the question, but don't tell everyone that, yeah, I do wipe the house floors and I do all the cleaning. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, because I do the morning show, so I'm free by 10:30, unless I have some work. And the other commitments start by evening. So I have the entire afternoon, evening time where I can be with my kid. Now he goes to school, he comes back. So I pick him up from school. So I have that luxury of time with me. And this is why I'm fortunate that I have. Not many parents have. They go in the morning, they come in the evening, and full time they're guilty that they don't have time. But for me, it's the other way around. But again, coming back to that natural, instinct and following and conditioning, in the evening, I take him to the park and I have fun with the kids. Playing with kids every single day, it'll change you as a person. I mean, the fun that you have, only if you have the patience to do it, I'm telling you, इससे ज़्यादा मज़ा ही नहीं आएगा आपको.
I totally agree because believe me, when my kids were small also, the best part about it was the popcorn wars and watching Kung Fu Panda, throwing popcorns. It's a mess cleaning up afterwards.
Correct.
Agreed, my vacuum cleaner would choke, but it was so much fun. And that time is something which is very precious. The trust that you build with each other, the bond that you build with each other is very important and conducive when they grow and come to what we call as teenage blues.
Correct. Correct. It is easy to get a toy for your kid and ask them, okay, now here it is, play. How about you are the toy? Or you get a toy and you are bonding with the kid with it.
I think this is also about creating memories. Probably he might not remember which toy or which expensive toy you got, but he would remember that my father used to come with me every single day to the park, and this is what he remembers for his lives and probably carry forward from there with
Yeah.
his child. So this is wonderful. As you said, you are free by 10:30, 11 after your morning show. So do you follow any timetable for your child, or do you follow he does his homework on his own independently, or do you help him in any way?
So homeworks, so luckily as of now there are no homeworks, but I do try to make him understand the tables and the importance of it, because that way I feel that your numbers, if you are sharp in it, you can solve a lot of math problems and of course the other problems as well. If you keep your mind sharp and with tables is what I feel. So I make it very interesting for him, and because he loves cricket. So what we do is, we say ki in 1 over 6 balls, first ball is four, second ball, okay, let's get 1 run. What's the total? Five. Okay, third ball, 3 runs. What's the total? Eight. Okay, now I need 16. How many do I need to get in three? So I make it that way, entertaining. So he's doing math, but he's not realizing. But there are times when I have to tell him, okay, learn 2 tables, learn 3 tables, learn 4 tables. And the best part is when I'm in the park, I do this with the other kids as well. I just pick someone and I say, okay, what's 4 times 4? And then there are 10 kids coming and answering that.
Combined study.
I mean, that's the fun part. You're not studying, but you're studying. And you're making your mind sharper.
And that is actually what is the real essence of education. It's not about studying, it's about learning. It's about being able to apply what you have studied into the real life. Like suppose you're calculating runs. Now, if it's school, you're just learning how to do plus and minuses.
Correct.
But when you're doing things like this, you're counting spoons, maybe doing things. The fun part I remember. So, when the kids are small, they're toddlers, we often want, we'll buy some toys which encourage fine motor skills. The best way to encourage fine motor skills is you take two bowls, you fill one with water, you ask the child to fill the other bowl with a spoon.
Nice.
So that balance, that concentration, so and the time it takes.
But it's fun activity. Yeah?
It's a fun
Yeah,
activity.
I remember there was one which I used to do with my son. Take two bowls of different dal, mix it together,
Yeah.
and then
Separate.
uncooked dal, the grains, and then try to separate it.
Separate them. Yes, this is something I have also done.
So it used to
This
take
would take
time.
what, 1 hour, yeah?
Aram se.
Aram
like,
se.
there is no hurry,
So you're
right?
teaching patience,
Concentration.
Patience, tolerance.
teaching concentration.
Yeah.
Fantastic method. I'll try this.
But that was when he was 4 and 3
Yeah,
years
I think
old.
he's grown up now.
Okay, I'll have another one and then.
But then, yes, at this age, we can try a lot of experiments, science
Yeah.
experiments that are, you can choose any kind of ingredients from your house and you can actually do experiments. That is fascinating. Apart from maths, probably we'll start liking science also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when you are mingling with your friends as well, for example, in school, he has his best friend. His name is Sayul, and Sayul, he calls him that way. He wants to become a scientist. He wants to become an astronaut. He has these, ambitions already, and he's completely into it. And I think company also matters so much, right?
A lot, yes.
And then you get inclined towards that subject. So yeah, coming to the main theme topic of independent, I think following naturally, letting all the knowledge in the world, come to him, and of course approach, and then choose the way forward you want to go to in terms of the interest level.
Right, very rightly said. I completely agree with your approach. And I'm sure many of us follow more or less the same approach. It is very interesting to see kids. You cannot put them in a mold and ask them to be independent for sure. But we as parents, we know what is going to be ahead. They're going to go to universities, and lot of these skills are going to help them in their daily lives. So we need to inculcate
Yeah,
from
life skills are very important when they go abroad. It's like, handling their own lives, schedules, submissions, and they have to find a job in second, third year. So again, scheduling your work time along with everything.
Right. Again, it's a set path, right? You're following. So I always believe that don't follow a set path. I mean, you can choose what you want to do but then you need to have that capability to do it. I recently faced this issue where my son refused to go for a cricket class. And I was surprised why you don't want to go. I mean, you love the game. You enjoy playing it. You are talking about statistics and players and teams. You have jerseys and trophies. So he didn't mention, and then I figured out it's the challenge that he was facing. As an 8-year-old kid, he's playing with 11-year-old kids. So there was a bit of challenge, and there is where he stopped. I know he'll come back. I'll give him some time because he loves
they
the
are
game.
also like spring. They will push and come back and bounce back in a double action.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Vivek, I am super fond of your rapid fires, and I have seen you
Yeah?
asking questions to
Okay.
all these celebrities. So, today you are on the hot seat, and I would be asking you would you rather questions.
Okay.
So, are you ready for it?
I'm excited. Let's go.
Playing Monopoly or watching a movie?
Watching a movie.
Okay. Born in vibrant 1980s or techno dynamic 2020s?
1980s.
You're still happy with 1980s?
Me too. I will go back anytime.
Vacation on a beach or mountains?
Beach.
Pani puri or burger?
Pani puri. Any day. Any day. I love desi food. Whenever I go to Europe or America, I can't live without desi food. I have to go to an Indian restaurant every single day.
So your
For one
taste buds are so used to desi food, you have to have it.
Absolutely, yeah. So pani puri any day, then burger.
I think, this is the case with all the desis. I mean, 95% of the desis I know. I mean, I have not seen a single person who doesn't like pani puri. yet.
But relishing Indian food and the way I relish it as well, when my kid sees that, he also wants to know what he's missing out in life.
And actually, this is one of the ways how, you inculcate a habit of reading, because most of the time what happens that, we think that, our kids do not read. We read with them on bedtime, but still they do not read. So that is what I always suggest, that, okay, take a book, sit in the corner, even if you don't like it, pretend to read and just laugh and do these expressions that you are having the time of the world. Believe me, within 5, 6 days, you'll see your child doing the same and wondering, what is so funny with this? Let me try.
Nice.
And more often than not, I've seen that those kids, when they see parents doing the something, they want to do it and find out the fun in it.
But then at the same time, we want them to be independent also and do things
Yes.
differently.
Agreed, but reading is a part where no matter what you do differently,
And I think
this is a
while
part.
growing up, our habits of reading started is because we would see dads open up newspapers and,
Exactly.
I
right?
think even reading a newspaper is not a bad idea. If a child does not like a specific genre, I think
No,
it's
it's anything you
anything.
read.
Just pick
But
it up
reading
and
is
read.
important. Like, even if it's, okay, so you want to get into finance, no problem. Read whatever is happening in the finance economics world, in the, things in the world, how money flows.
Because this is going to help them in
Exactly.
creative writing.
Agree.
They need a lot of vocabulary skills, they need to develop them. So, this will come from reading.
Yes.
Okay, coming back to our rapid,
Rapid
fire.
fire.
Yes.
Sorry.
Black or gold?
Gold.
A perfect day with your child.
Where he doesn't demand any junk food.
Okay.
Shopping with your wife or stay back home?
Shopping with my wife. I don't want to die. But the best part is, she doesn't force me to do anything in terms of shopping. She knows I don't like it a bit because she takes her time and every woman takes her time. I don't have the patience. So I would rather sit back at home.
So, but you said you will go shopping with your wife.
Yeah. So I'm not sure about that question.
Okay.
Can we flip the question? Ask some
You
other
want us
question.
to flip the question and ask another question?
Ask another question.
That might be more dangerous, probably.
Oh.
Okay. So, any words of wisdom or any advices that you want to give to parents, on their parenting journey as to, how, when, about independence?
So advice, though I'm not an expert, but I strongly feel that, what Sadhguru said, that your child doesn't need a boss at home. All your child needs is a friend. And I so related to that. I always was a friend. I still am a friend. I can't be boss. And I think that is a very valuable line that Sadhguru has said. Be your child's friend. They don't need another boss in their life. And I think that's a beautiful way to understand, observe, bond, and enjoy this fantastic journey that you're in, as a parent.
Very fine line of wisdom, actually.
Yes.
Very, very, very apt.
What is your advice, Dia, to all the parents?
Again, it's not so easy when you're a parent to be a friend. But yes, we can try to be one and as far as possible try to be friends with them. But parent element is somewhere, especially when you go to teenagers age, when you have a teenage, you always feel that the child should come and tell you everything, and that is only possible when you are going to be good friends with them or
Right.
bond you. But that will not happen immediately when the child is going to be 13 years old. It has to start right from the beginning, as you said, when the child is born, 2, 3, how you're going to spend time. So yes, I do agree that you have to become a good friend of your child and try to help them in their journey and support them in every possible way.
Right.
Parent element will come, especially for mothers.
And Bhavna, your thoughts on advising?
So I actually go by the advice that you said, and I've actually, followed it the entire years that I've raised my children. Be their friend, and in fact, I would say last 4, 5 years, 6 years, they have been able to teach me a lot on the things that I was not aware of, especially technology, the upcoming way of thinking, the out of the box thinking, willing to take risks, and a lot of things, especially since both of my kids are very into sciences. So they keep telling me about latest developments that are happening, latest inventions, how the money flows around the world and everything. So they have been my teacher like from 4, 5 years. as much as I have been able to teach them, it's like, both ways. So more or less we are now four friends in the same house. I would say.
I
That's the
think they
fun
have
part.
crossed
Yeah.
the teenagers and they're actually grown up. So you have gone through the
But
journey
I'll
and we are
tell
still on the journey.
but I'll tell you something. For me, the teenage years were the best years that I remember with my children. The best years.
That's the most difficult year for a lot of parents, I think.
Yeah.
Teens,
That is
12.
when they become
Now it's
rebellious.
pre-teens and
Yes.
teens. It's both ways.
But for me, I think pre-teens and teens were the best time of my life with my kids.
So, when do you think that your children got independent in whatever they did? At what
I
age?
I always believed, because that is how I was raised, that let kids do their own work. They may fall a little, they may make mistakes, but let them make mistakes when you're there to guide them, to support them, and to teach them that it's okay to make mistakes. Life is about making mistakes and bouncing back. So I have been a constant believer of studies. It's your responsibility. Do it. Look, my career is done. So now it's your job. You want to make a good career, you study. You don't want to make a good career, I'm happy with whatever you'll be. So for me, it was a very simple. So I have just let them do their own studies since grade 6.
Big step.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
that is what even I would follow. It's your assignments, deadlines have been given to you, follow it. If you don't follow, face the consequences. Because I cannot make him remember each time that there are so many subjects. It's not one
Agree.
or two subjects. And the child has to follow his or her deadlines and do it. It is an act of independence. Now, from 7, 8 years old, my son started making dosas.
Nice.
But of course, I supervise. It's a gas, and as a parent, of course, I'm scared that there might be some mess happening. But maybe वो गोल डोसा नहीं बनेगा. It will be a map of some country probably.
No problem.
But it's
Yeah.
okay. So that's how I felt that small things, this really helped him at
Yeah.
early age, because one day he will have to do it. He
Right.
might have to do it in hostel or probably help his wife. So yes.
Yeah,
And
helping
to
the
be
wife
very
extremely
honest,
important. Yeah.
throughout your life, you work on deadlines, right? So that working on deadlines on your own without being reminded is a very important life skill that kids need to develop in their school time, so that when they are out in the university abroad handling their own life becomes a little easier.
Absolutely. And every Sunday we used to have this back home while growing up. My dad would give mom chutti in terms of don't cook anything. He'll be cooking the breakfast and lunch, and he would make the best dosas and best omelets ever. And we would look forward to it. And you get inspired. Your dad knows how to cook. He makes the best dosas and omelets. So you start learning slowly, slowly.
And today's era, both are working. So it's
Yeah.
important that even men should be cooking, or it will start
Doesn't
right
matter,
from
whoever
the,
is
yeah.
cooking. Yeah.
So it helps in any ways when you are at your house.
But I think there is this sense of accomplishment when you do things independently. And as a child, when you start doing it, you feel so amazing. And that's the approval, validation you need from your parents. And as a
Yes.
parent, you keep them on top of the world that, wow, you were able to do it. So I think my idea of being independent is naturally flowing and letting things happen the way it is and creating those conditions naturally as much as possible.
And I'll tell you one thing, no matter how much the children, when they're 18, 19, they say, we want to do things differently. But at the end, when you look at them at 21, 22, you'll see them doing exactly the same what they saw in the childhood. So, 2 years, like within 3 years, the entire mindset changes for a child. And eventually they fall back, they may be all rebellious and all things in 15, 16, and oh my God, I want to change the world. But eventually they come back to the same principles that you wanted to instill, exactly same path on the day that they used to have in the childhood. They still want that subconsciously. So it's like, now that he's 21, I see his mindset changing a lot on a lot of points. So whatever you're doing now is something you'll see him wanting and doing the same thing when he grows up. So it's kind of, we are models for our children.
Absolutely. Completely agree. And after having a child, you realize, yaar, kitna mushkil tha for our parents to bring us up.
Absolutely.
And hats off to my mom and dad for
Styles of
bringing up.
parenting.
Yeah.
Same, I would say the same. Raising three kids. It was not easy. So it was so wonderful having you here, Vivek, listening to your perspectives and, sharing your views with the viewers and everything. So it was indeed a pleasure that, you came here, shared your ideas. Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
Thank you for inviting me, and please nominate me for Father of the Year award.
Oh, done.
My friends keep saying that.
you're
Father of the Year
already,
tujhe hi milega.
you're already in the finalist.
But you're blessed with the time, I
Yes.
must say. That time, and you're really taking care and utilizing that time. That is what I really appreciate, and I'm proud of it.
True.
Thank you so much. It was such a fantastic session. I didn't even feel that, we are doing a session. It was just like three friends talking.
Yes.
So, hope to come on the show once your show becomes number one again.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So, signing out for now, and see you in the next episode of BTC with Bhavana and Dia.